Okay, folks, it's Martin again. I just had the appraisal done to this lovely apartment here in Bayside. The appraiser just left. Um, just a point to note, make sure you're here for the appraisals. Make sure you get here before the appraiser gets here. Walk your property. Then when the appraiser gets here, you introduce him to the property. If he needs comps for the properties, you got to provide it. Sometimes you may have to provide the comps no matter what. And always give him a copy of the listing history, what it was, what the asking price is, and what's the agreed number on the property. Because he needs to know, he needs to have this information so that he can give you the correct appraisal. You don't want to end up with an appraisal that's below the agreed amount for sale, because then the bank probably won't finance the deal. So the appraiser needs to come in at the asking price or the agreed to selling price, or it needs to be above the sale price that has been agreed to by the buyer and the seller. All right, so just so you know. So the appraiser is very integral to your deal. You got to pay attention to this guy, make sure he's happy, make sure he has all the information that he needs, because he can screw up your deal. Okay? So you got to stay on top of him too. So just make sure, I mentioned this in a video prior to this one, that you manage every stage of the deal. You are the linchpin, you're the pivot. Everything goes through you as the real estate agent. All right, the attorneys, the appraisers, the bank, the buyer and the seller, they need to know what you're doing, and you need to know what they're all doing, and you have to stay on top of them. So you're basically supervising everybody. So I think today went well. My appraiser had a good smile on his face when he left. I'll send him the comps. I'm going to send him the listing history. He already has a copy of the contract, so he knows what the agreed price is, and everything should be fine on this deal. So stay tuned. Bye. Okay. All right, I just left the apartment. In case you never saw it, this is the outside of the building. These are the grounds. It's pretty quiet here in Oakland Gardens. This is another one of those prime real estate locations that everyone wants to live in, no matter what the cost is. Another point I just wanted to share with you guys is that don't take anything for granted in real estate. Don't take anything for granted. Even when the contracts are out on your deal, you got to make sure that the party that you represent sign, and that the contracts get back to the other party as quickly as possible, and that they sign as quickly as possible. I was taught by my mentor, Anthony Lally. If you've never heard of him, you got to Google this kid, Google this guy. Time kills deals. If you waste time in getting your contract signed, you're probably going to get screwed. This deal, I actually took this from another agent who wasted time. They didn't make sure that the contracts were signed in a timely fashion. Even though the buyer, the original buyer, went back crying to the sellers to take, that they promised to sell to them, they got beaten out by my buyer, who had a superior offer. We were offering not all cash, but we were putting down a lot more money, and we were offering above the asking price. So that's going to hurt you. If you don't pay attention to the details, you're going to lose money. I learned that myself, and so I don't make those mistakes anymore. So to save you from the same trouble, stay on top of your deal. Once the contract is out, make sure your seller, or if you're representing the buyer, make sure the buyer signs it that same day or the next day. And make sure that the contract goes back to the seller's attorney as quickly as possible. If you need to hand deliver it, hand deliver it. Make sure it's back there that same day or the next day. Don't trust FedEx. They will waste time. And that time might be the difference between you making money and losing money. All right? Pay attention to detail. It's the only way you're going to survive in this business. Have a great day, guys. Bye.